Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Bladesinging Storm Sorcerer Wizard multi-class in Baldur's Gate 3's Patch 8. Now, the Heart of the Storm will actually proc off of Booming Blade, allowing us to deal extra damage riders to the enemy. It's actually a pretty cool combination. So, this will start off with a Sorcerer, because this will give us Constitution saving throw proficiency. Now, there's actually a couple items in the game that's going to help out with our spell save DC. The Hat of Thunder Acuity, or the Hat of the Storm Science power here, will actually allow us to get arcane acuity whenever we do thunder damage, which we can apply really easily using this build. So, starting off the Storm Sorcerer, we can cast Fly as a bonus action without receiving opportunity attacks, so for positioning, this is extremely useful. We get some cantrips. I would recommend grabbing Booming Blade as early as possible. Mage Hand is also very useful because we can use it to throw water bottles to set up Create Water and then deal extra damage with our lightning spells. I'd also recommend having Bone Chill and Minor Illusion as well. This will stop the target from receiving healing. We can also go with the Ray of Frost or Shocking Grasp as well to give ourselves the ability to get away from combat, although we do have the Fly that also works the same. Now for spells, I would recommend having Shield and Magic Missile, although having Mage Armor early on in the game is also really nice to have just for better survivability. Don't worry about Thunderwave, we will get that a little bit later on. Now, we do need a bit of intelligence for the wisdom or the wizard casting. You can use the Headband of Intellect and then just dump your intelligence stat. It's an item you can get in Act 1, which works very well until later on. We can also then dump Constitution or Dexterity. Dexterity, you can use the Dexterity Gauntlets, although I prefer having a different set for the extra benefits that it brings, because Reverberation can be extremely useful on this build. But what we can do is you have to have a dump stat, or you can just go with this stat spread here. Use Charisma mainly for casting. And then once we get the Arcane Acuity stacked up, it doesn't really matter because we have a +10 to our spell save DC. Level 2 gives us the meta magics. I would recommend Twin Spell because Twin Haste is really useful, or Distant Spell because you can increase the range of your spell. So sometimes you can hit a target, but then you can with Distant Spell. And for the spell selection, again, Mage Armor is super useful. Chromatic Orb can give you another reliable thunder or lightning damage spell. And even Ice Knife is nice if you need something while you're silenced. I would recommend either the Chromatic Orb or Mage Armor just for better survivability. And then, again, we can just go with those two for the meta magics. The best one we get is at level 3 here. And then for the meta magics, we're going to take Quickened Spell, bonus action spell. It's really good. And then for our next leveled spell, Scorching Ray, Hold Person, Misty Step are some of the best. I would recommend grabbing Hold Person, as this will give you the ability to get critical hits off on an enemy. So you can cast this and then go in and melee attack them. Shadow Blade is the best spell, unfortunately, in the game, so that's something that we can also go with. If we want to maximize our damage, that would be the absolute best choice. At level 4, we get to take another cantrip. We can go with the Ray of Frost, and then for our spell, again, Misty Step for that extra movement is nice. Scorching Ray, because that's just good damage, even though it doesn't fit thematically. And Shadow Blade, since we're going to go the Bladesinging Wizard, I'm going to show you the maximum damage version of this. You don't have to take Shadow Blade, just going to put that out there. I get people upset every time that I do take Shadow Blade, or if I don't take Shadow Blade, but it's not mandatory. It is the strongest by far, but it's not mandatory. If not, you can take Misty Step, Mirror Image, or Scorching Ray. Now for our feat, we do have a couple really good options. So we can go with an ability score improvement and then take up our dexterity or our charisma or our intelligence there. Another stat that we can go with is the alert feat, but I also like going with the dual wielder. So this will allow us, since we can't use a shield in our offhand when we're Bladesinging, we can take dual wielder and then use something a little bit more powerful. So this will give us a +1 armor class when we're wielding a melee weapon in each hand, so we can increase our overall survivability there, which is really nice to have. Level 5 gives us another spell, and Lightning Bolt by far the best choice here. It's the lightning spell that's going to work well with the rest of our abilities that we get at next level here. At level 6, we get the Heart of the Storm. As I mentioned, this will actually proc off of our Booming Blade. It'll take, all targets will take half our Sorcerer level. But this also procs damage riders. We also get resistance to lightning and thunder damage, which is a nice thing to have. And we get these spells: Call Lightning, Sleet Storm, Gust of Wind, Create or Destroy Water, and Thunder Wave. We can quicken a Create Water, create the vulnerability to lightning damage, and then drop some of our more powerful spells. Also with the Wizard, we can learn things like Chain Lightning and blast really hard with that. Thunder Wave's good for the pushback that it brings. And for our next level spell, Haste can be a good one, although you can also take that from the Wizard, as your spell stat is going to be a little bit lower for the Wizard. Misty Step is always a good choice again. Fireball and even Counter Spell. I'm gonna go with Fireball there for another offensive option. Sometimes it's just easier to drop a Fireball on enemies. Now at level 7, we're gonna multi-class here into the Wizard. This adds a few more cantrips. I would recommend, you could have grabbed Mage Hand, I guess, with the Wizard, Minor Illusion, Firebolt to explode things, and Acid Splash, I guess. For spells, I would recommend grabbing ones that are like mainly buffs, like Longstrider. We're actually going to add in a few spells from scrolls. So we got Grease, we got Find Familiar, Chromatic Orb is not a bad one, or False Life. Shield, even a good spell. If you didn't want to take it from the Sorcerer, we could take it from here instead. And then you could just focus on a bit more of the offensive spells. There's not really a lot. You could swap out spells once you hit level 3 and take like something different with the Sorcerer. At level 2, Bladesinging Wizard. This gives us the Blade Song, will give us a +2, eventually +3 to armor class and saving throws, our constitution saving throws, an advantage on acrobatics and increased movement speed. A lot of buffs. Also take Ice Knife and Fog Cloud, Bladesinging Wizard weapon. It's your preference. This just gives you a free weapon. And then we'll take, I guess we'll go with Mage Armor. We can go with the Grease and the Longstrider. We're going to swap these out for scroll spells. Level 3, 2 more spells. Scorching Ray and Misty Step are 2 good ones. Yeah, even Web is not a bad option too if you want to go for something else. Into level 4, we get ourselves another cantrip and another feat. For this one, it's really your choice, Friends, if you're the face of the party, I guess. And then for the next level spell, I love Darkness, but it doesn't really have a theme on here, unless you want to use the Eversight Ring, and then you can see from the darkness there. Mirror Image, really useful spell. Invisibility, and then prepared spells. We'll just swap out some of the ones here, add a Misty Step. For our feat, again, Alert is always a good choice for feats. We could go increasing our intelligence to get it to 16 and make it on par with our charisma. Or we can also increase our charisma. It's your choice there, whatever you want for better stats. If you find you're casting more Sorcerer, go charisma. I think intelligence is the better choice, just to have them both equal. And then once we get arcane acuity built up really easily, we'll actually do a ton of damage there. So that's really good. Into level 5 here, we get another Blade Song power. We get level 3 spells, Counterspell and Haste being 2 of the top priorities there for taking, because we can use the we can twin a Haste to ourselves and someone else on our team. Here's where we get the extra attack, Booming Blade, something else. And then on top of this, we do actually have some other offensive abilities that we can use. Something like the Glove of the Battle Mage's power will actually proc Arcane Acuity whenever we do a melee attack with Shadow Blade, so that can be good. It also procs up Booming Blade if you don't use Shadow Blade. One of the highest priorities for spells we want to learn is the Chain Lightning spell. Obviously, it deals a ton of damage, so that can be a really good one to have. Wall of Ice is another not bad one to have, and Odluke's Freezing Sphere just gives you a few other options. The Hat of Storm Scion power, or the Hat of Fire Acuity. If you're using Scorching Ray, this can build up our Arcane Acuity really quickly, or you can use the Storm Scion's power, because when we deal thunder damage, we get Arcane Acuity, so Booming Blade will trigger that. Valor Alluve will also trigger that, but I think that the better choice is the Helmet of Arcane Acuity, so whenever you deal damage with a weapon attack, you gain Arcane Acuity for 2 turns. It's the easier option to go with, because, yeah, it just, it's going to proc it off even crossbow attacks. Now, Gloves of the Belligerent Skies is a good choice, but we can also go with the Gloves of the Battle Mage's power. That gives you, if you do a spell or a cantrip that uses a weapon, Shadow Blade actually counts as one. This will give you Arcane Acuity. So if you don't want to use the Gloves of the Belligerent Skies to stack up Reverberation, that can be a good choice. You can go with the Wave Mother's Robe to give resistance to fire and cold damage. So we have resistance to fire, cold, thunder, and lightning, which is great. It means we're taking a lot less elemental damage, although our armor class can be a little bit on the lower end of things. Another good choice is the Robe of the Weave. This is just one of the best choices, because this will give you +2 armor class, so it takes our armor class up a little bit higher. For our weapons, I like having a Dolar Amaris in the offhand. Even having something like Belm in the offhand can be good. The Dolar Amaris will give you additional damage on your critical hits, which can be extremely effective. Now, we do need to have a specific type of weapon. So Valor Alluve is a really good choice too, because it gives you the Shrieking Song. You could also have a teammate have this on and enable the Shrieking Song, and then you get extra damage off on your attacks. The weapon choice is entirely personal preference. I think a longsword like Valor Alluve works best, and then having Belm in the offhand or Dolar Amaris. But I also think that Shadow Blade is one of the better options too. So you can go with, if you want to cheese a free Shadow Blade, take yourself the Staff of the Stealth Power or Marka Heshker, and then you can go with the free cast that they give, and then go ahead, Shadow Blade, upcast it to the highest level. You get yourself a free upcasted Shadow Blade. This is just the highest damage version of it, 4d8, and that's doubled with the Resonance Stone that you can find in Act 2. This goes hard. And then you can also have in your offhand, really, anything that you want. You can put the Valor Alluve in the offhand, although it depends really what you want. You could also go with if you want Dolar Amaris for better critical hits, that's an extra 14 damage with the Shadow Blade. So it's tempting, but I like being able to get the Shrieking Song, using that to stack up extra thunder damage. And then we can go ahead with the Boots of Stormy Clamor as well. So Gloves of Belligerent Sky, stacks Reverberation, so do the Boots of Stormy Clamor. The Evasive Shoes also work good, or even Disintegrating Nightwalkers. Evasive Shoes just give you a better armor class. I also have the Cloak Protection, Helmet of Arcane Acuity, the Ring of Elemental Infusions. Whenever you deal Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Thunder damage with a spell or cantrip, which Booming Blade counts, we get an extra 1d4 of that on our next attack. Another ring, if we don't want to use the Ring of Protection, is the we got a few things that will give us Arcane Synergy. So when you deal damage to the cantrip, you get an Arcane Synergy for 2 turns. That adds our Charisma or Intelligence modifier to our damage, so it's another +3 on our damage, which can be nice. You could also go with the Caustic Band if you just want to add in additional damage riders early on in the game. And even the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel allows you to do a free cast of a hold person, so you don't burn through your quickened spells as quickly. So those are a few really good options to go with. I'm just going to go with this for the extra damage that it provides. So yeah, and then we also got the Hellrider Longbow for the +3 to our initiative, and the Amulet of Greater Health, although you can go with the Spell Savant Amulet earlier on in the game. We can actually get the armor class up higher using Mage Armor. That requires us to take off the Helmet of Arcane Acuity, but we can use the Habit of Storm Science Power to stack up Arcane Acuity here. And we can also use the Gloves of the Battle Mage's Power, because Shadow Blade will actually trigger this just on a main weapon attack. Divine Smite also triggers this. Booming Blade will trigger this, so if you're not using the Shadow Blade, you can use Booming Blade to trigger this as well. But I would recommend at that point using Gloves of the Belligerent Skies. But with this, we get a 25 armor class. That's 10 base, 3 from Mage Armor, 3 from Dexterity, 2 from the Robe of the Weave, 1 from Cloak Protection, 1 from the Dual Wielder, 2 from Being Hasted, and 3 from the Blade Song, making us a little bit more tanky. Now, on our first turn of combat, the first thing we want to do is set up our Arcane Acuity. So we're going to go with a Booming Blade here on any high priority target. And I have the Singing Sword on, so you can see the Shriek applying there. Now, always go after the high priority, anyone with Counterspell, anyone that's got Command, things like that. Go taking them out first. Turn off Dual Wielding too, so you don't waste an extra attack. Boom, we just got ourselves Arcane Acuity. And then we also got the Blade Song healing charges. And or 4 stacks of Arcane Acuity, 2 stacks of Arcane Synergy, adding our Charisma modifier. And then we also have a Thunder Infusement for 2 turns, adding additional Thunder damage on our attack. So that's the first one. And the nice thing is, then we can just go with another attack. Shadow Blade gets powered up by these shadows here, which is pretty crazy. So boom, we go with another attack that adds 4 and 5 thunder damage. We now have 8 turns of Arcane Acuity, which then brings our Sorcerer casting up to 24 spell save DC. Same thing as the Wizard there. So that's more than enough to be able to hit a spell. And then we can go ahead with going with a Chain Lightning here. 95% hit chance. That's really good. So we'll go ahead against this high priority target right there. Boom. We somehow were able to spread around the thunder from Faladar Loop there and take out another target on top of the ones that we targeted with that spell. And the beautiful thing about this is if we need to get away, we got the Tempestuous Magic here to be able to fly, or Tempestuous Magic to be able to fly away. We also have the Blade Song Climax. We need to teleport and heal our team. Misty Step if all else fails. And then on top of all this, we got our Quicken spell too. So you don't even have to give up on that. We got another turn of spells. So with this, we can go with like a lightning bolt there, or something that's going to hit multiple targets again. That's kind of our priority when it comes to spell casting. If you get the free cast, you can do another chain lightning at that point, which is nice. Or you can even just land hold person and lock down a bunch of enemies all at once. I like the hold person route because this can be upcasted, and we have Arcane Acuity to help land these shots. Always go for the targets that are more likely to cause mayhem to your team. I guess we'll just go with all 4 of these here. So boom, hold person landed on every single one of them. Perfect turn. And since we have 25 armor class, that's good for survivability, but we also have shield, brings it up to 30. So we're hard to hit as well. So tanky, also good at spell casting. There's everything, pretty much everything can be done with this build. You can do crowd control with hold person there. We didn't even upcast it to the highest level. And we got hit with command, which is our biggest nemesis. As I mentioned, we want to take out anyone that has command because, yeah, it shuts us down. If we have haste supply, we can go with something a little bit different. We can go with, starting off with our, first with holding person, or using hold person. And this will give us the ability to take out multiple targets here. Again, going for the high priority caster. And we have another action where we can go ahead with a booming blade, which going against the highest health target there. Boom, yeah, that does a lot of damage. All the extra damage riders. And then we get extra damage from the thunder infusement on that. So that's pretty good. And then we also still have our bonus action for a quickened spell. So then if we wanted to, we can literally just go ahead. We have only 2 quickened spells per long rest, so that is something to keep in mind. We got Chain Lightning, or Luke's Freezing Sphere is another choice there, but Chain Lightning obviously being a very powerful spell, so we'll go with that. It actually chained across to all of them. The range on that spell is really good. And then once we end our turn, they can't go, so we can go again and then just go ahead with Booming Blade. Hold Person, extremely powerful. Hold Monster is another really good spell, but unfortunately we are not able to get it. But that is the Bladesinging Storm Sorcerer Wizard multiclass in Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is a very fun multiclass. I love being able to add elemental damage types to our weapons and getting all those fun extra effects from it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.